So Ray Wershing will tee it up and kick it to this man, Drew Hill, who's the deep man for the Rams on kickoffs. Hill, with his numbers, as you can see, has broken one for 50. On his right is Mike Gooman, and up short on his left is Ivory Sully. Ray Wershing, the veteran kicker for the San Francisco 49ers, who was born in Austria, went to school at Cal, and had an excellent career since coming to San Francisco. Originally a free agent with Atlanta, San Diego, but since he's been a 49er, he's kicked 72 field goals in 99 attempts, and he figures to be a weapon today. So under bright, sunshiny skies, here we go, the Rams and the 49ers. High kick, and Drew Hill will make the reception at the 11.
I'd like an R, please.
And still going, and got across the 15. Turner ankled him at about the 25, and he drove forward for the additional yardage. So the Rams will put it in play, and here are the men who will stack up with Pastorini at the wheel, Tyler and Bryant the running backs, Waddy and Denard the wide receivers, with Pankey, Hill, Saul, Harris, Smith, and Arnold the tight end. For the Rams, with first and 10, the ball just at the 30-yard line. And Pastorini with his back split. He'll go to Cullen Bryant. Flag on the play as Bryant gets to the 38-yard line, and we'll see the interpretation of that in a moment. This is Red Cashin, our referee. The umpire is Art Demis. And it will be a penalty against the Rams. That might give us a moment, too, to set San Francisco defensively for you, and then we can get the show more or less on the road. Stuckey, Reese, and Border up front in the three-man front. Harper, Jack Reynolds, the ex-Ram, celebrating his 34th birthday, along with Craig Pookie and Keena Turner. With Ronnie Lott, Eric Wright, Colin Williamson, and the only veteran back there, Dwight Hicks, the free safety. So it is first and 20 after the holding penalty moves the ball back to the Ram 20-yard line. They'll go to Wendell Tyler, and Tyler got away from Willie Harper and then got back to the 25-yard line. So Harper had him at the 20, and he spun away.
You know, Ben, I think interestingly enough, the Rams obviously scout themselves just like every other good team in the National Football League. They start off from a passing formation and run the football. They ran a good play at the very beginning, but had a holding penalty. They used the same passing formation again, and this time run a sweep to the left side. But obviously, they're trying to break the tendencies that they've established so far this season.
Well, we'll take a good look at Wendell Tyler. Tyler figures to be very busy today on a 2nd and 14 from the Ram 26. Straight ahead, Mike Gooman, and he spins across the 30. Bobby Leopold knocked him down at the 31-yard line.
And Dean, on the obvious passing situation, instead of being lined up at his defensive right-end position, he was lined up at the defensive left-end position.
By the way, Hank, as we look at Fred Dean on a 3rd and 8 on the 32, if this is indeed a passing down, what do you do to stop this one-man gang?
Number one, they have to play a tight end on his side. He isn't nearly as effective with a tight end on his side as he is on the split end side. And you have to run right at him instead of permitting him to chase and rush the passer.
Well, the tight end, however, is on the other side of the lineup as Pastorini makes his drop. Eric Pankey takes care of Dean, and the pass is no good. Juggled by Wendell Tyler, and let's see where they're going to spot the ball. Just shy of the 40-yard line, so not enough for the first down. Bobby Leopold putting some pressure.
Now Dean is on the right side this time. He was on the left side the last time. Now watch Pankey, the offensive left tackle, blocking Dean, and he knocks him beyond the quarterback and permits Pastorini with the opportunity to throw the ball on the outside, but it's incomplete.
So it is a 4th and 1 on the 39, and Frank Corral standing on the Ram 25-yard line. Deep for the 49ers, Dwight Hicks and Freddie Solomon. And the kick will go towards Hicks as to backtrack to the 11-yard line. That's Ivory Sully flying by. Flag on the play, and he's going to be upended at the last minute by Joe Harris as he crossed the 25 and got to the 28. Let's find out about the flag as we saw Ivory Sully flying through the air. Flag might have been against Eric Wright. There you see Pat Hayden talking to Dan Pastorini on the sidelines. For Pastorini, of course, he's had 2 tough outings. You were talking about the drop of a quarterback, Hank. We'll get into it in a moment.
Illegal use of the hands during the run back. Number 21 of the receivers, half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10.
So the penalty was against Eric Wright. Illegal use of the hands, half the distance to the goal, and there you see the 49ers. Montana with Patton and Cooper, the running backs, Clark and Solomon, the wide receivers. Charlie Young is the tight end. And Montana putting it in play, 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 8-yard line. He'll start wide with Ricky Patton, and Patton getting away from a couple of tacklers, got it out to about the 12-yard line, so he picked up 4, and it'll be 2nd and 6 on the San Francisco 12. The drop of the quarterback, Hank, what are you looking for?
Well, you look for smoothness and you look for good time. To illustrate this point, Ben, I think it's very important for you to time the quarterback going back into the pocket every single day of practice. We did it consistently with Lenny Dawson. We want him to take a 5-step drop and be back there in 1 and 5/10 seconds.
Wow.
And if you go back there and spend more time going back into the quarterback position than that, you're in trouble, and you provide the defense with more of a chance to rush.
Well, maybe you can clock some of these quarterback drops, particularly when Pastorini's out there. Here's Patton with Ayers blocking, Audick blocking for him, but Carl Erkin stacked him right up. Eckern hit him head-on at the 15-yard line. Picked up 3. That makes it 3rd and 3 as Ray Malavasi looks on. Defensively, the Rams have Jack Youngblood, Mike Fanning, Reggie Dawson, Cody Jones up front, a 4-man front as opposed to the Niners' 3. Then you have Youngblood, Eckern, and Andrews, the linebackers. At the corners, Irvin and Perry with Johnson and Cromwell, and you can now scratch Irvin. It's Pat Thomas at the left corner side.
You know, another thing is very important. The Rams play much better against a team who does not use the I formation than they do against teams that use a split backfield like the 49ers.
I'm going to ask you why in a moment, but Montana over the middle, and he has his man, and the man is Freddie Solomon, jitterbugging at the 30, and Solomon finally pushed out by Nolan Cromwell at the 33, almost the 34-yard line for the 1st down.
Pat Thomas slipped and fell. Good protection, throws the ball well. Watch Pat Thomas, 27, slipped on the play. Solomon does a good job of running, eludes another tackle, finally knocked out of bounds by Cromwell, number 21.
What's the difference as far as running out of the I and running from the split defensively, Hank?
The I formation is a great formation to take advantage of teams that over-pursue, and if you only have one middle linebacker, like the 4-3, why, you have a chance to run behind the middle linebacker and make a lot of yardage. That's
Davis carrying that across 35. Johnny Davis, the 4-year man, Alabama. Joe Montana. Does he remind you of anybody?
Yes, he does. From the waist down, he reminds me of Joe Namath.
Now, what do you mean by that?
Well, because he's got a very high split. He's split high. He gets back into the pocket very fluidly and nice and smooth. He's got a good, smooth delivery, but he really reminds me an awful lot of Joe from the waist down.
2nd and 5 on the 49 or 39-yard line. Just the start of the ball game. Play action fake to Davis. Now Montana goes to the right side to Mike Schumann, and Schumann is boxed in and knocked out of bounds at the 46-yard line by Pat Thomas.
You know, the other great thing about Montana is the fact that he's aware of what's happening. He's totally aware of where everybody is on pass patterns. That time, for example, he looked to the left and threw the ball back over to Schumann onto the right side. And look at this Tampa Bay score, 37-3 over the Green Bay Packers.
Meanwhile, New Orleans edge Houston as Bum Phillips comes back to get vengeance, 27-24. Cincinnati knocked out Denver, 38-21. Cincinnati, of course, we saw last week demolish the Rams. 1st and 10 on the 46, and Montana going to Charles Young, the tight end. He was hit by Johnny Johnson and knocked down finally by Nolan Cromwell and Carl Eckern at the Ram 40-yard line. Another 1st down.
That was another play-action fake, faking inside. And watch Montana. Watch how smooth he is, and watch his footwork. He steps, he throws. Great follow-through, good catch by Young. But he follows through so well that his right foot comes off the ground very much like a baseball pitcher.
And so it is 1st and 10 on the Ram 40-yard line. Charles Young is no longer a tight end. He was a wide receiver on the left side. There goes Ricky Patton, and Johnny Johnson brings him down to the 35-yard line. You know what's interesting, Hank? The 49ers do not have much of a running game. The Rams have a great pass defense, and yet, knowing all of that, they've been able to pass on the Rams.
Well, they pass very intelligently. They don't try to get a big play unless they're in good field position. One thing that's interesting enough, they utilize people extremely well. This time, the last few times, Clark lined up at tight end. Young is split in. They're trying to create some problems and confusion for the defensive backs of the Los Angeles Rams.
Buffalo pulled it out in the last 5 seconds to beat New England in that game with Solomon in motion on a 2nd and 4. The pass is to Solomon. He's knocked out of bounds by Pat Thomas, and he got it to the 26-yard line, and that'll be enough for a first down, so the 49ers are really moving.
Watch Solomon break up the field, break to the outside. The ball is delivered right on the money. He makes the catch, is finally tackled, but not until after he makes the necessary yardage for the first down. Pat Thomas, number 27, making the tackle.
All of the first downs for the 49ers have been picked up on passes to Freddie Solomon, Mike Schumann, Charles Young, and now Freddie Solomon again. So it's 1st and 10 on the Ram 27-yard line. There's a give to Patton trying to go with Ayers and Cross blocking for him, but there are too many blue shirts, and down goes Ricky Patton. A note on Patton, he's handled the ball 127 times this year, only 1 fumble. And among NFC running backs who have handled the ball over 100 times, the leaders would be Lynn Kane, then John Riggins, Cullen Bryant, and Ricky Patton. Nice to have that kind of a guy on your club.
Oh, yes, he's very steady, very dependable. He dances every dance, gives you 100% all the time, and he's a big asset to the offense of the 49ers.
2nd and 9 on the Ram 26-yard line. Dwight Clark is wide left. Solomon is split right outside of Charles Young, and they stay on the ground. Ricky Patton, and Patton gets across the 25 to about the 22-yard line, and Joe Harris had him by the ankle.
This is nothing more than the old Green Bay sweep with both guards pulling, Patton running to the outside. Not much running room, no place to go. There's no magic to why you make yardage or why you don't. Wasn't very good blocking that time, and the results were negative.
3rd and 6 on the Ram 22. Again, Freddie Solomon wide left, and Schumann now is a wide receiver right. Clark was in the slot right. Montana is hit and buried by Jim Youngblood back at the 33-yard line.
Here we see Youngblood, 53. You watch him. He's the policeman on the play. Finally decides to take off and attack the quarterback, Montana, when he sees he's in trouble and makes the tackle. Number 53, Jim Youngblood.
So Ray Wersching, who has kicked 12 out of 16 field goals this year, he had 4 out of 5 last week against Cleveland. And as we mentioned, this will be his 100th field goal attempt for San Francisco. And Wersching with a hold at the 37-yard line. And the kick is up, and it is good. So Wersching has now kicked 73 out of 100 for San Francisco. And the fellow who went to Cal has certainly found a home by the bay. So in the early going, 7 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter, the Niners go and pick up 3 on the field goal by Wersching. 7.5 minutes into the first quarter, San Francisco leading Los Angeles 3-0. They beat him by 3 points up in San Francisco the first time the teams met. And remember, the last time the Rams was swept against San Francisco was back in 1960. We just got San Francisco 3 ready to kick off from the 49er 35-yard line. Drew Hill will have to back up to about for Nolan Cromwell being ministered to on the sidelines. Veteran defensive back, marvelous all-around athlete for Los Angeles. And here come the Rams now, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. They'll go with Tyler. Kent Hill was blocking outside, so Tyler went inside and got to about the 24. Getting reports now on other games. Pittsburgh in very cold weather polished off Cleveland 32-10. And of course we'll see the Rams in Pittsburgh, Hank, next week. And the second game of that doubleheader seen in other areas. The Giants knocked off leading Philadelphia 20-10 in the fourth quarter. And the Giants will be playing at San Francisco. So that's shaping up as quite a Sunday a week from today. 2nd and 6 on the Ram 24. And the 49ers recovered it. The handoff was to Gerald Thomas. Coach, what about that?
I think that's typical of what can happen when you're thrust into a starting position as a quarterback. I think Dan Pastorini is a little confused about the numbering system and the system in general. That time the backs went one way, he went the other. I don't know who made the mistake, but it was an obvious mistake. He tried to get the ball to the Thomas on a forward lateral and fumbled the ball on the play. San Francisco has possession. 1st and 10 on about the 25.
Tina Turner out of Purdue, Coach. So you remember your days on the campus. He recovered that fumble. 1st and 10 on the Ram 25-yard line. Montana has Patton and Cooper behind him. And he's going to give it to Patton, and the Rams will stack him up, and then he squirts away and got across the 25. So Patton made some yardage when it looked like he was going to lose.
Yes, and they have their fine outside receiver, Dwight Clark, playing tight end again. They're trying to put him in as many positions as they possibly can to confuse the defense of the Los Angeles Rams, because they obviously key on certain people, and they're confusing the keys by moving him around.
Well, there's a shocker. The Giants beating Philadelphia 20-10. They haven't beaten Philadelphia, I believe it was something like 15 in a row. They finally knock them off. So it's 2nd and 8 on the 23. Montana with Cody Jones hitting him from behind and dropping him at the 33-yard line. He never saw Cody coming out of the pack. That's the 2nd Ram sack.
Watch. Nobody blocked him at all. You see his feet coming into the picture. There you see Cody Jones, number 76, putting the squeeze on Montana. Dan Audick, the offensive left tackle, 61 for some reason, was blocking down and didn't touch the defensive end of the Rams, Cody Jones, number 76.
So it's the 2nd sack for the Rams. Remember, Jim Youngblood had one earlier. It is now a 3rd and 18. And, of course, for Cody Jones, 7 years out of San Jose State, a big sack for Los Angeles. This time they will try Patton going right, and he's upended. Johnny Johnson hit him at the knees, and then Jack Youngblood came over to make sure he was going down. So the Rams stiffened on 2 consecutive plays, the sack, and then they stopped Ricky Patton. And the punter, Jim Miller, the All-American out of Mississippi, who once hit the gondola in the Superdome. Ray Guy did that, so you get an idea how high this guy can kick the ball.
And Pat Thomas, number 27, really did a good job of coming up and stuffing the play. I would look for some kind of a run, even though it's 4th and 18 here.
He's going to barefoot it out of there, and look how high, but it might go into the end zone. It does. In fact, it'll go through it. And of course, he's a picture of dejection. That's the last thing Miller wanted to do, was to kick it in the end zone. So the Rams come up smelling like a rose. They'll take over on their own 20, and they get the ball back with the Niners leading 3-0. What makes that note so interesting, the Rams have won 2 out of 3 since 1976, and yet 7 quarterbacks. The attrition looked for a moment like they were going to have 7 quarterbacks this year. That's Mike Gooman straight ahead to about the 24-yard line for a pickup of a couple. It's a painful thing when you start running out of quarterbacks.
You're out of business unless you want to go to the single wing.
So a pickup of 5. That'll make it 2nd and 5 on the Ram 25-yard line. 3-0 in favor of San Francisco. Ray Wershing kicked a 47-yard field goal. So 2nd and 5 for Pastorini. He has Waddy on a wing and now in motion to the left. And that's where Preston Denard is. But he stays on the ground to Tyler. And Tyler gets across the 30, picks up the 1st down before he is finally dropped by Lawrence Pillars, number 65, along with Tina Turner. It looks like a pass every time, and they're running.
Well, that time they ran from the I formation, and I really thought that the hole opened up well on the right side, plus the fact that Tyler really did a great job of running on the play.
Tyler is the deep back behind Mike Gooman. Waddy is wide right, and they're going to stay on the ground, and Tyler trying to cut back. At the bottom, number 65, Lawrence Pillars, who is playing with a sore chest. In fact, they didn't even expect him to play, but there he is. And he upended Tyler.
Here we see a counter play. Tyler takes a step to the right and then goes back to the left side. Hera leading number 60 on the play. Not much running room. They responded very well to what they saw, and specifically, Jack Reynolds did a good job on the play.
And hold everything. Flag on the play now, and Pastorini backing off. We'll wait for a preliminary signal instead. Red Cashin will tell us. Illegal procedure, false start.
On the offense.
Against the Rams.
You know, we touched on Pastorini making a mistake on the handoff a little while ago, but, you know, some systems, for example, when he was at Houston, even numbers were to the right, odd to the left. The Rams use a system where odd numbers are to the right and even numbers to the left. So that can be very, very confusing to a quarterback, especially when he has to put the whole thing together and know exactly where everybody is supposed to be and where everybody is supposed to go.
So losing 5 on that illegal procedure at 2nd and 13 on the Ram 28-yard line. 3-0 in favor of San Francisco. We're really just warming up the chairs on this one. And Pastorini hooked by Dean, but he got away from him to the 40-yard line before he goes down at about the 42, and losing the ball, Tina Turner belted him, and the ball popped out, but after the whistle. Eric Wright fell on the ball, but it's not going to count. And down on the field is Dennis Hara, who was hurt on the play.
Watch Dean, number 74, the ferocious rusher of the 49ers. Pankey is trying to block him. He gets around the outside, and Pastorini does a good job of swatting him away. Runs right up the middle and makes a yardage for the first down.
He just did get across the 41, losing the ball after the whistle, and they're measuring first down. They've got it. 3-0, 49ers. Dennis Hara led off by Jack Youngblood and Dr. Clarence Shields, and they got a big kick out of it, so I assume Hara is okay from their reactions. In fact, Youngblood was breaking up laughing so hard over the fact that Hara had his bell rung. So the ball on the 41-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Rams. Started on their own 20. And Pastorini passing in time to Preston Denard. Keena Turner just missed it when he took a swipe at the ball, and that'll spot it at the 47, a pickup of 6. Hank, have you been timing Pastorini on his drops?
Yes, the last time he went back into the pocket, with a five-step drop at 2.1. Normally, you like to get for him to get back at 1.5. We always insisted that they get back at 1.5, 1.6. That time he was 2.1.
So is that bad? I mean, that much is you're splitting hairs, but is it serious?
No, it's a problem. He's got it. Trying to get to the quarterback.
That's Wendell Tyler, brought down by Dwight Hicks as he got up to about the 42-yard line.
Watch the good blocking at the point of attack. Irv Pankey. Gooman does a good job, number 44. There's a good cavity. Wendell Tyler takes advantage of it, pops through the hole, and picks up a nice gain on the play. Good blocking also by Ken Hill, number 72, the left guard.
So it's a first down for the Rams. They have it 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 41-yard line. Billy Waddy is in motion to the left. And out of the eye, it's a quick handoff to Gooman, and he's hit immediately by Craig Pookie as he got in across the 40 to about the 39-yard line. Jack Reynolds is celebrating a birthday today. Hacksaw, they called him, all the years he was with the Rams, and the fans down here in Anaheim salute him. It is his 34th birthday. Jack Reynolds, he's quite something.
Yes, he is. He's a very special guy and a very special football player, and they moved him from the weak linebacker to the strong linebacker position, and that's where he's playing in the game this afternoon.
2nd and 7 on the 49er 38-yard line. Pastorini to Gooman, and Gooman trying to get outside, and he's going to be stacked up by white shirts. The first man to come up and hit him was Bobby Leopold, number 52. We're seeing a lot of him today. He's a 2-year man out of Notre Dame.
And Reynolds, from his inside linebacker position, number 64, also did a good job of taking a good angle and getting to the ball carrier in time to help out on the play.
Dennis Harrop, we understand, had the wind knocked at him, which is one reason for Jack Youngblood's frivolity. He knew it wasn't serious, so Dennis is okay and should be back. And as you can see, the man they call Hurt, he's 6'5" and 250. Looks like he's all right.
Dean is in the game now at right end, defensive right end for the 49ers.
3rd and 5 with Tyler trying to get outside. Tyler getting across the 35 and moving to about the 33. That's not yet enough for a first down. And you can see Pastorini.
Bill Bain, the guard pulling on the play, did not give him enough room. There was not enough cushion between the guard, Bain, and also the ball carrier, and for that reason he was not able to make the kind of a cut that he should have to make.
So on a 4th and 2, Ray Malavasi sending in Lawrence Gilbert and Dennis Hara. Denard and Waddy come out, so needless to say, Malavasi's going for it. 4th and 2 on the San Francisco 33. The Rams started on their own 20, and they're trying to keep the momentum going. And they'll go to Gooman, and Gooman has got it. He's picked up the first down. He has finally dropped at the 27-yard line. It was Ronnie Lott on top and Archie Reese at the bottom.
Here we see Tyler leading the play, Gooman making the reception on the toss back. Tyler does a good job of blocking out in front, and Gooman saw the seam, took advantage of it, and got the 2 yards plus more for the first down.
So that's the end of the first quarter with the score: San Francisco 3, Los Angeles nothing, but the Rams are on the prowl. We start the second quarter. This is Vin Scully along with Hank Stram. Beautiful day in Anaheim. San Francisco leading 3-0. And we get a report St. Louis beating the hapless Baltimore 28-17 in the fourth quarter. Kansas City knocking off Seattle easily 40-13 in the third quarter. And Oakland on the board leading San Diego 7-0. First and 10, and here's Mike Gooman trying to get around Willie Harper, and he fumbled the ball out of bounds at the 29-yard line, so they lose 2, and it'll be 2nd and 12.
Wendell Tyler, number 26, really made a great block on the outside. Last week we saw him play against Cincinnati. He missed several key blocks, but he's made 2 or 3 good ones here this afternoon and deserves a lot of credit for the kind of a job he's done so far.
You can take a look at that block. The left of your screen, Wendell Tyler taking care of Carlton Williamson. He just chopped the legs out from under. 2nd and 12 on the 29 after that fumble by Mike Gooman out of bounds. Tyler releases. The middle. And Pastorini throwing in the middle, and it's in and out of the hands of Big Walt Arnold, the tight end, at the 5-yard line. No reception, so it's just an incomplete pass.
Took a long time to find him in the middle area. He was open for a long time. It was not a precise decision at all on the part of Pastorini. Waiting, had plenty of time to throw the ball. And then when he did throw it, he threw it a little bit behind. And by the time the ball got to the receiver, Drew Hill, it was knocked loose and falls incomplete.
3rd and 12 on the 29. So 3rd and 12 for Pastorini, trying to keep this drive going. It started on the Ram 20-yard line. Pastorini to Gooman, and Gooman stumbles, got around Dean. Keena Turner rides his back and brings him down around the 27. And of course, that's first down territory. They have to get all the way down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line.
I should correct myself too, Ben. It was Walt Arnold who the ball was thrown to instead of Drew Hill.
So it'll be 4th and 10 for the Rams, and Frank Corral will come in now to try and get the Rams even. Corral is 16 for 22. He has kicked 72% of his attempts for field goals, but he missed 4 up in San Francisco, and the Rams went down to defeat. So the hold by Nolan Cromwell at the 34-yard line, and a 44-yard effort by Corral is good. So in a battle of field goals between Ray Wershing and Frank Corral, the Rams and the 49ers are tied up 3-3 with 13:50 left in the second quarter. Well, we're all looking forward to that next weekend. The season premiere, NCAA basketball, Georgia at San Francisco, right here on CBS. Deep is Amos Lawrence, famous Amos, they call him, and he brings it out of the end zone to the 10, 15, upended at the 20-yard line. Greg Meisner, if Meisner, number 69, doesn't trip him, he'd indeed be famous Amos. But Meisner just did get a piece of Lawrence and upended him as he crossed the 20-yard line.
He'd run right up the ramp had Meisner not made the tackle.
Whew, he would have gone. So you can see the Rams scoring drive in 13 plays, 53 yards, and it was Corral's field goal. On the sidelines again, the huddle. Dan Pastorini, number 10, Pat Hayden, number 11, and Lionel Taylor. First and 10 on the San Francisco 23-yard line. Montana on a toss to Cooper, trying to get outside, and he's upended. Johnny Johnson came up as he was chased by Andrews and Perry. And with that, let's make a trip across the country. Go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Down in Dallas. Danny White out of the shotgun will send Butch Johnson on into the end zone. 28 yards, scoring strike for the Cowboys. Watch the California quake at the end of it. Let's go back to Vin Scully.
Okay, Brent, we're playing like we're double parked, so San Francisco hurrying, and they were in too much of a hurry. And it'll be a penalty against Randy Cross, the 6-year veteran out of UCLA. And, of course, anybody from UCLA is a little down today anyway after SC stole one on him yesterday. There's Randy. He was a second-round draft choice 5 years ago.
Setting up number 51 on the offense. Still second down.
So it's still second down. It is 2nd and 15. Ball on the 18-yard line of San Francisco. In motion, Freddie Solomon. And Montana throwing behind Solomon. Pat Thomas right there with him. The 49ers, you know, can become the first team to clinch an NFL division title. They can do it as early as tomorrow night if they can win today, and Atlanta loses to Minnesota tomorrow night. So this could be a big day for San Francisco.
Yes, and I keep saying it, and I'll say it again, the man we're seeing on the sideline, Bill Walsh, has really done a remarkable job with the 49ers. He and his coaching staff really have been super.
So it is a 3rd and 15 on the 18-yard line for San Francisco. Solomon goes right, and Dwight Clark is wide left. Montana with one back releasing, and he's going to, and that's Big Cooper. And Cooper is at the 25, takes a lick, and is upended by Pat Thomas as he was fighting his way to the 30-yard line, but Thomas's hit prevented the first down.
Watch the offensive line. Audick, number 61. Ayers, number 68. All doing a good job. Throws the ball right out in front, about a yard in front of the numbers. That's where it has to be thrown for the back to make it and catch it in stride. Beautiful throw by Montana.
So 4th and 3 on the 30. Miller kicking from the 20-yard line with that bare right foot. And Leroy Irvin, who had a big day against San Francisco, over 100 yards in return to last time, but he can't get started, and he's dumped it about the 18-yard line. Leroy Irvin. So the Rams went from their own 20 and wound up with a 46-yard field goal. This time they'll start from their own 16, and it's a 3-3 tie. And the pregame at 3:30 will feature Charlie Waters, who's done such a great job keeping the Dallas youthful secondary together. That's Billy Waddy in motion. Mascarini given to Wendell Tyler. Doug Smith leading the way, and Tyler fights his way across the 25 to about the 28-yard line. Among others, number 64, Jack Reynolds, making the hit.
There was a counter draw play that time, and it was almost caught from behind by the defensive left end, but he didn't quite get there in time, but it looked like he might. Looked like he was Stuckey in hot pursuit of the ball carrier that time.
So it is 2nd and about 2 on the 28-yard line. Pastorini has him out of the eye. Goonan is the up back. That's Denard leaving the line, and Wendell Tyler is out across the 30 to about the 33-yard line, and that's plenty for the first down. It's one of the few first downs the Rams have picked up today on the ground. They've been basically picking up on key passes.
Yes, but they've been sticking it at the defense of the 49ers pretty well, and they've been very successful most of the time when they run right at the defense. That time, the Ram offense of Walt Arnold, number 84, Pankey, and Ken Hill, all of whom did a super job on the play.
Well, they're up to date in Kansas City. They polished off Seattle. 1st and 10 on the Ram 34-yard line. Inside handoff to Goonan, but they're going to stack him up. You know, San Francisco has the number 2 defense in the NFC. They're 7th against the rush, 5th against the pass. That's pretty good balance, Hank.
Yes, it is, and especially when they came into the season with such a porous defense from a year ago, but Bill Walsh went into the season with the anticipation of the 3 young defensive backs being a big help, and they have been, plus the fact that the acquisition of Reynolds and Dean has helped the defense tremendously.
They've come a long way from 1979 when they had 32 defensive backs from May until December. That's Wendell Tyler on little screen, and he is squeezed. Dennis Harrah trying to throw a block, but there were 2 men there. Ronnie Lott was the first one, and Archie Reese the other, and Harrah couldn't take care of both of them.
Watch Lott come into the picture, number 42. That's a screen. Pastorini doing a good job of acting, throws the ball to Tyler, and watch Lott fakes out the blocker, Harrah, on the play, and stuffs it close to the line of scrimmage.
Well, that moved it out to about the 39. Ronnie Lott, of course, the brilliant rookie out of USC. He came into this game with 5 interceptions, and they tell us he's the best athlete on the team. And you can see the third down conversions, 3rd and 4.
Well, the middle area is very open against the way. Look at this big area here.
Mike Gooman carrying the midfield as Kent Hill came out to throw the block, and Big Hill just took his man wide, and that made it a first down for Mike Gooman at midfield, 1st and 10.
The 49ers are using a lot of double coverage. Here they sweep to the outside, and Gooman sees the hole. Good blocking out in front. Pankey does a good job, and Gooman does a good job of taking advantage very quickly of the hole and getting the first down. But the middle of the San Francisco defense is very vulnerable. It looks like they'd be able to throw in there and also run in there more often than they have.
1st and 10 from the 49, and it's an end around to Preston Denard. And Denard, once Carlin Williamson was taken out of the play, Denard gets to the 35-yard line and a first down. They knocked Carlin Williamson, number 27, out of there, and Denard picked up the first down.
And that's really a good-looking play because it changes the timing and the rhythm of the defense. They've been pursuing very strongly to what they see. This time they run it to the left, come back with a reverse on the right side. There's some good running on the part of Denard. Does a good job of going down the far sideline and picks up the necessary yardage for the first down. A good-looking play by the Rams.
The reason Carlin Williamson was knocked out of the play was a fine block by Doug Smith. So it's 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 35-yard line, and it'll be timeout Los Angeles down on the field with 8:59 to the half in a 3-3 tie. Ray Malavasi trying to get his Rams squared away. They're on their 3rd 2-game losing streak of the year, but they're locked up at 3. Reynolds, and the ball went popping up in the air and then recovered by the ball carrier.
Watch Reynolds, strong linebacker, 54 Pookie, is blocked on the play. Reynolds takes a good pursuit angle. Hill hits him, knocks him right into the ball carrier. Tyler, the ball pops up into the air. He is very alert, gets it on the way down. This is a beautiful shot here. Look at this. He's falling, but he has good concentration and is able to recover his own fumble.
2nd and 5 on the San Francisco 20-yard line. We have an interesting note about Wendell Tyler and a couple of the premier backs about fumbling. We can pass that to you in a minute. But Mike Gooman is hit, and down he goes. Lawrence Pillars, number 65, knocked him down to break the play. When Wendell Tyler carries, his rate of fumbles is pretty high. There you have it. He's had 8. And then you have Rodgers with 10, but in 60 carries more. Then Otis Anderson and Walter Payton with 9. The highest, in fact, among the NFC running backs.
And the Rams have done a better job of running when they go at the defense rather than go east and west.
So it's 3rd and 7 on the 22-yard line of San Francisco in this 3-3 tie. Pastorini looking over the middle, faking twice, and all alone is Wendell Tyler, and he's going to butt heads and go into the end zone. Eric Wright tried to keep him out, and he ran right over him.
Did you notice, Ben, there was nobody in the middle area at all. They're so concerned about the outside receivers. We touched on that a little earlier in the game, but the middle is a very vulnerable spot the way they're playing defensively. He finally spotted Wendell Tyler in the middle area. Watch how it opens up here. He waits, he pumps, he finally throws the ball. There's nobody around him at all. He scampers right for the end zone. Number 21, Eric Wright, is right there, but he runs right through him and in for the touchdown.
So Corral now will try to make it 10-3 Los Angeles as Wendell Tyler comes walking off to catch a breath. For Wendell Tyler, that's his 5th touchdown receiving, and he has 8 rushing for 13 touchdowns for the year. Corral is perfect, and he's been perfect all year. He's 28 for 28. So the Rams are sitting high right now, leading San Francisco with 6 minutes to the half. Los Angeles 10, San Francisco 3. Thanksgiving traditional, the NFL on CBS Sports. And this Thanksgiving, Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. The Rams leading 10-3. Kicking off to San Francisco, and Bill Ring this time will handle it. Ring at the 5-yard line to the 15, to the 20, and runs into people at the 25. He's one-year man out of BYU. Bill Ring. Here's Wendell Tyler, who has now scored 13 touchdowns for the Rams. 8 rushing, 5 on passes, getting a handshake from Gerald Thomas. There's the numbers on the drive. 11 plays for 80 yards, capped off on the pass to Tyler and the corral point. Meanwhile, Miami and the Jets, and Miami leading the Jets 7-6. The question here, of course, can Richard Todd play in that one with a fractured rib? 1st and 10, the ball on the 25-yard line, and Montana play action fake to Cooper, and Joe going deep to Solomon, and he makes the reception, taken down at the Ram 30-yard line by Pat Thomas. What a play.
The ball was right on the money. There was double coverage inside and outside by the strong safety, Cromwell, I should say Johnson, and also the left cornerback. And they had him in the squeeze, but the ball was thrown just perfectly. Gets it right on the numbers. Pat Thomas was also covering on the play, and they have good field position on the 30. Good field position, good pass protection, a play-action pass. Montana to Solomon.
So 1st and 10 on the Ram 30-yard line, and Montana got a bunch in a hurry. Charles Young in motion to the right. Montana getting a little heat from Jack Youngblood, and now by Mike Fanning, throws on the run and throws it to the suburbs. So it'll be 2nd and 10 on the 30, and the crowd thinks he threw it away. There were people in the vicinity of the ball. So 2nd and 10 on the 30.
Yeah, especially the chain game.
Yeah, it was a long-distance call at best.
But that's good composure on his part. It's a very wise decision on the part of Joe Montana. He was in the soup. He was in trouble, and he throws the ball out of bounds.
Montana's longest pass, as you see Bill Walsh talking to a couple of his players, Montana has thrown a 78-yard touchdown. That's the biggest one he's cranked up. And the biggest pass to Freddie Solomon, 60 yards for a touchdown. This one was 44 yards. And we'll have a timeout, San Francisco, as Joe Montana, who has completed better than 62% of his passes this year.
Yeah, Clark comes in with 62 passes, hadn't touched the ball yet.
10-3 Rams. Georgia with Domingue Wilkins, and of course USF with their senior center Wallace Bryant. So that'll be quite a match to break the seal, the premier NCAA basketball on CBS. Montana high and soft, and Solomon is there, and Solomon made a brilliant reception, taking it from Pat Thomas at the 2-yard line.
They were in a bump and run coverage, meaning that Thomas was right on the line of scrimmage with Solomon. Montana spotted it, threw the ball downfield on the one-on-one situation, and Solomon does a super job of leaping for the ball and making the reception on about the 3-yard line.
So softly led, it looked like a bird falling out of a tree the way he just lobbed that thing.
Yes, and he knew he had one-on-one, and that's the kind of a shot that you want to take. He throws it right over the top nicely on the inside, and Solomon makes the catch.
They'll pick up a 28 yards, 1st and goal from the 2. In motion is Schumann, and out in front is Johnny Davis. Davis gets it close to the goal line, and they stack him up. He's the 4-year man out of Alabama. We have 4 minutes and 8 seconds to the half.
And Johnny Davis has had a problem with a bruised calf muscle, but he's a very fine straight-ahead runner, and is very good on short yardage situations, especially close to the goal line.
Well, Freddie Solomon bringing in a play. Johnny Davis came to San Francisco in a trade with Tampa Bay for James Owens, you might remember. 2nd and goal from the 1. Montana, first man, Johnny Davis. And the Stars fell on Alabama. So that makes it 10-9 in favor of Los Angeles.
Watch the good surge on the part of the offensive line, the right side. Davis does a good job of slamming the ball right through there. Randy Cross, Farnhorst, Quillen, all of whom did a good job of blocking at the point of attack.
So Bill Walsh sees his young 49ers come bouncing back. You know, they were shut out as far as touchdowns last week against Cleveland. That's the first time Walsh ever experienced a blanking. It took some dreadful weather to do it. But now they get a touchdown. Worshing's point after is only perfect. So with 3 minutes and 47 seconds, we have a 10-10 tie. And Ray Worshing bombs away to get him even. Ray Worshing has not only kicked 16 out of 16 points this year, he has now worked on 79 straight, so he becomes automatic Ray Worshing when you can kick that many.
Yeah, he's got radar hooked up to that toe, I think.
That's Drew Hill standing on the 5-yard line from Los Angeles, and Worshing gets things going. Hill will make the reception at the 3. Going all the way, starting across the field. And they'll knock him down just shy of the 20-yard line. Rick Gervais, among others, and of course Gervais didn't play very much, number 24, and he was able to hit him the first. The 1st and 10. There's the scoring drive, and of course the number 1 play was the 44-yard pass from Joe Montana to Freddie Solomon. Then they came right back with a 20-some-odd yard pass to set up the touchdown by Davis. So they picked up a bunch of yards in 5 plays. 1st and 10 on the Ram 20 in a 10-10 tie. 3.5 minutes to the half. Wendell Tyler. A couple of scores will pop in for us. St. Louis holding on to a 4-point lead. Baltimore catching up. It's now 28-24 St. Louis. Oakland leading San Diego 14-7 in the 2nd quarter. San Diego's fallen upon hard times. Things are starting to go well for Oakland.
Yes, they're starting to do a lot better job offensively, and San Diego has had a very tough time defensively.
Boy, they've given up a ton of points, especially the last 2 games.
Yeah, they really do, and they really have a tough time against a team that uses the I formation.
2nd and 6 from the 24, and it's Mike Gooman. He took a pretty good bump from Jack Reynolds, and he was still on his feet. He lost the ball to Ronnie Lott long after the whistle. So Gooman is tough. He really just had Reynolds bounce off him.
Yeah, he's a sledgehammer back, big and strong, and very decisive runner, which is very important. He doesn't dance around in the hole. He knows what he wants to do, where he has to go, and he gets there as quickly as he can.
Things have been going pretty well for Joe Gibbs in Washington, but right now Dallas, it just doesn't lose at home, leading Washington 10-0 in the 2nd quarter. And the big one, the Giants knocked off Philadelphia 20-10. The Giants will be playing San Francisco next week, the 2nd game of the doubleheader, while the Rams will be playing Pittsburgh. 3rd and 1 on the 29. Not much room for Gerald Thomas. He tried to squirm for the 1st down, and from this angle, he would appear to have made it. Yep. And we are coming to the 2-minute warning. Officials timeout with 2 minutes left to the half. Good ball game going here in Anaheim. The Rams 10, the 49ers 10. 2 minutes left. With 2 minutes to the half, a 10-10 time. By the way, coming up at halftime today, a feature called Singing Highlights, plus Brendan Erb with all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. Wait till you hear the boys from Green Bay doing a little singing. 1st and 10 on the Ram 31. Pastorini has Gerald Thomas and Mike Gooman, the running back. And he'll go to the air. And he's going to go to Gerald Thomas. They set up a screen. Bill Bain threw a pretty good block and decked his man. So Bain knocking Carlton Williamson down. That's the 2nd time they've been able to flatten him.
Yeah, I tell you, Bain did a great job on the play. Number 62, watch the right guard. The guard, number 62, watch you. Let's get a picture of him outside. Here he comes. Watch the picture. Watch the shot. Gets a beautiful block on number 27. Williamson.
Go to 2nd and 5 on the 36-yard line. There's Bill Bain. You can see he hasn't shaved, but neither has any of the other Ram linemen. They have given up the blade until they start to win a few. Pastorini going out to Mike Gooman, and he's knocked out of bounds by Craig Kuki at about the 43-yard line, and that should be enough for the 1st down. So Gooman can run him and he can catch him.
And Pastorini has really done a good job so far of being patient and taking what he's being given by the defense. This time he throws the ball to the outside to Gooman in the flat, who makes the reception. and is finally knocked out of bounds by Pookie, number 54.
Well, that'll be at the Ram 44. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, they also serve who only stand and wait. Jackie Slater, who suffered the hamstring injury, he's lost today. There was also Phil McKinley, who might very well see some action, standing alongside of him. 1st and 10 on the Ram 44. Both backs release. Pastorini pumping twice, directing traffic, throwing on the run is Walt Arnold. 36-yard line. Well, boy, Pastorini looked like a 5 p.m. traffic cop.
Yes, he did, and he got the ball off right where it had to be thrown, away from the flow of the play. Arnold, it looked like should have come back into the middle area, but he didn't. He kept cruising to the outside. It made it a tougher throw for Pastorini. Then he finds he jumps out of the pocket. Look at him. He directs to traffic, throws the ball on the move, and right where it has to be thrown, right at the numbers, to Arnold, who makes the catch. A big play for the Rams.
Big play indeed. Walt Arnold, a second-year man out of New Mexico, surrounded by 49ers. And it is 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 36. And, of course, time is a factor. We'll watch it for you. 1:33 left of the half as Ray Malavasi and Lionel Taylor talking to Dan Pastorini. That's Lewis Gilbert, the tight end, with his back to the camera. A couple of numbers. Pastorini is 7 for 8 and 72 yards, including a touchdown. Montana is 7 for 9, 132 yards.
Well, the great thing about Pastorini today, he's content to take the bus rather than try to take the jet. He's traveling slowly, but that's what he has to do against this 49er team.
Miami leading the Jets 9-6 in the second quarter. Miami going into that game 7-3, and the Jets 6-4, so that's a big one. 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 36-yard line. 1:33 to the half. Now Colin Bryant and Wendell Tyler are back in there. Bryant is the up back. Both backs releasing again, and Pastorini going deep to Denard and overthrew him. So no sooner do you talk about him taking the bus, and he tries to go all the way.
Well, I think at this part of the field, Vinny, it's a very good thing to do. You're on about the 35-yard line, and you're going to get one-for-one coverage. This is where you're going to get it. You're going to get zone coverage until you get in this area. And he took a shot, and I think somewhere along the line you got to take a long shot. That time he had him open and just overthrew him.
Dan Pastorini was saying, I came to the Rams under a misconception. I thought they wanted me to throw deep. Now he's learning that they want him to lay it off and go the short route. So it is 2nd and 10 on the 36. Look out for Dean. He was coming from behind, and Colin Bryant makes the reception. Saladin Martin knocks him down at the 30-yard line. And it's at the 29. They have to get to about the 26. And are the Rams huddling as the clock runs down? No. Pastorini will take them right up to the line of scrimmage. So 1:05 left to the half. It was 10-10 tie. And they'll go to Colin Bryant. And the big back gets to the 25, and that's enough for a first down. And there'll be a timeout called immediately by the Rams. So we have 58 seconds left in the half in a 10-10 tie, and the Rams are driving. Remember, they started on their own 20. Well, Hank, so far they've done what you were talking about, the fact that they have gone short and they have speeded themselves up considerably.
Yes, and I think any time that you have 39 sacks like they have going into the game and 22 interceptions, you have to take an inventory of what you're doing. And I think it's very obvious they wanted to make sure they got rid of the ball a little quicker. They had wanted to throw the ball a little shorter to help their offensive line as far as the sacks are concerned. And so far the plan has worked very good.
Another chance to remind you, next weekend, the season premiere, NCAA basketball, Georgia at San Francisco, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock Pacific. Georgia, as we said, led by a bona fide All-American, Domingo Wilkins, and USF led by their 7-foot senior center, Wallace Bryant. So the Georgia Bulldogs and the San Francisco Dons in the premiere of NCAA basketball next Saturday. You can see San Francisco with 2 timeouts left. Interesting note, the Rams have 147 yards rushing to the 49ers 26.
Yeah, I think they felt going into the game that they had to run the ball more, control the line of scrimmage. It helps their pass protection, and they've done a good job with that scheme.
Well, now it's 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 25. 58 seconds to the half. Hill and Denard in a slot left. Tyler trying to block on Bobby Leopold, and Leopold was still able to break up the play. Leopold, number 52, Tyler tried to block him, and there's a flag on the play. Take a look and see how Leopold got by Tyler.
Pastorini was in the process of throwing the ball. They call it an incomplete forward pass. Good pressure. Watch Pankey, 75, trying to block Dean, 74, and he does a good job of it. But you see Leopold blitzing on the play, number 52, and he comes in and puts a squeeze on Pastorini.
Further check on that last play. No penalty involved, and it is 2nd and 10 on the San Francisco 25-yard line. We have 52 seconds to the half. Pastorini throwing down the right side, a comeback pass and a flag on the play. Martin was defending Waddy, and they were pushing off. And let's see, the penalty against Aladdin Martin.
Yes, it has to be against Martin. And this is what happens so much of the time when the ball is underthrown. The ball was underthrown. The defensive back did not know where the ball was, and in the process interfered with the opportunity to make the catch.
Interference.
Pass interference.
Number 29 on the defense.
On Martin.
First down.
First down for the Rams.
Well, 1st and goal on the 7. That's 18-yard pass penalty. Aladdin Martin, a 2-year man out of San Diego State. So 1st and goal from the 7 with 46 seconds to the half. The Rams and the 49ers in a 10-10 tie.
And the Rams do not have any timeouts left.
And San Francisco has 2. Cullen Bryant and Gerald Thomas in there now behind Pastorini.
They got a bump and run on the outside there.
Uh-oh, there's a bump in the backfield. Never mind bump and run. It was bump and stop as Cullen Bryant bumped into Pastorini at about the 7 or 8 yard line. Without a huddle, and clock now working down to 30, and a pass to Denard, way overthrown, flag on the play. Let's take another look at Bryant bumping into Pastorini.
Well, we talked about a bump and run, but we didn't mean this one. Watch this collision between the quarterback and the fullback. Watch it. Bryant runs right into Pastorini. There's a mix-up on the play, which is very obvious. They wound up wasting the play. And it happens here again. This is the 2nd or 3rd time in the game that this kind of a thing has happened. But I think any time that you have a new quarterback with a new system, you're going to have some confusion. And that's what's happening so far.
It's tough to have a new quarterback when you're fighting for your life, too.
Yes, that's right.
It's one thing to have a new quarterback at game 2.
Offsides. Number 88 on the offense. Penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
So Denard, who was going into the end zone for the pass, guilty of being offside, and it's 3rd and goal from the 7. Well, let's see. You have Waddy on the right side with Denard. The backs are split. That's Bryant and Gooman. They're back in there. And in motion is Denard, picked up by Eric Wright. And Gooman might pass. Left-handed pass. Touchdown. Mike Gooman, who was a pitcher at Penn State, throws a strike to Preston Denard for the touchdown.
You talk about good-looking execution. That ball, he did a good job of acting on the play like he was going to run the sweep. And they saw Denard pop open, deliver the ball right in stride, a beautiful throw, and the Rams get 6 points on the play. But you talk about good-looking execution. That's a perfectly executed play. Watch him. He does a good job of acting.
And especially being left-handed.
Yes, and he throws the ball on the run, stepping toward the line of scrimmage, and Denard, hey, he made a great catch.
Great catch. So it is 16-10 Rams on the shock of the day. Mike Gooman, the first time he has ever thrown the ball. This is 3rd year in the NFL. He's 1 for 1, and it's a touchdown. A whistle on the play as Corral hammers it through. So the Rams are sitting on top of a 17-10 lead with 23 seconds to the half. Let's take another look at that left-handed toss by Mike Gooman.
Watch the guards pull on the play. Harris pulling number 60. 72 is pulling on the play. Kent Hill. The execution is exactly like you draw it up on the board. Touchdown, Los Angeles.
So Mike Gooman, who among other things when he was at Penn State was a defensive back, a wide receiver, a tailback, he handled punts, comes to the Rams, and after 2 years in the league throws his first pass, and it's a strike for a touchdown. So it is 17-10 Los Angeles, but we have already seen the ability of San Francisco to come bouncing right back. Remember the last time when Wendell Tyler scored on a touchdown, Montana went 44 yards to Freddie Solomon, and the 49ers got it back. The only thing for San Francisco now, they're running out of time in the half. There's only 23 seconds left. But a big moment in the life of young Mike Newman. So Frank Corral with the Rams leading 17-10. The Rams with a 5-6 record, naturally battling for a wild card berth. San Francisco trying to lock up today with a victory and an Atlanta defeat tomorrow night. Corral kicking deep down the left side, and it'll be Bill Ring from the 1. Ring at Brigham Young University, and he's out to the 25. A good return by Bill Ring. So you have 18 seconds left. Would you try, Hank, a deep pass, hoping either A, for a catch, B, for pass interference, and if it's intercepted, it's almost like a punt?
Well, they wouldn't. I don't think it's necessary to do that with 18 seconds left. They might try to move it up a little bit closer downfield, I think, and then maybe would try to do something like that if with just a few seconds left in the half with the idea of getting a big play. But I don't think they'll do it in the very first one, not with 18 seconds.
All right, 1st and 10 on the San Francisco 25. On Montana, back at the 15-yard line, throws in and through the hands of Freddie Solomon, the intended receiver. Leroy Irvin and Jim Youngblood were right there with him anyway. Final score, St. Louis knocked off Baltimore. Well, Baltimore had really lost their shoes, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. And, you know, it's amazing. They've got a great quarterback in Burt Jones. They just have not been a good team defensively all year long. They've given up a lot of points. They've been able to score points, but they haven't been able to stop anybody.
So it is 2nd and 10 on the 25-yard line. I guess Robert Irsay didn't call very many good plays today. And Montana's going to go down on one knee. Just let the clock run. We're down to 8 seconds, so that'll be that. In a most exciting first half, the Los Angeles Rams leading the San Francisco 49ers 17-10, and prospects of a great second half coming up.